welcome to the Artefactors Union. I am your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels. Today we are building the Pig Trouble box for the Bayou. This is the box itself. It contains two models, Gracie, the lovely pig down here, and Burt Jebsen, that's just a big mouth. Let's look at the renders. Gracie in the bottom, pig covered in metal objects, and Burt with an obscene gun. Let's look at the sprues. First we'll be starting with Gracie. There's a lot here, but it's going to be relatively simple as far as instructions. We'll jam the two halves of her together, put the face on as well as the jaw, and then we'll just attach all the random bits. Only a few of them interact with each other, so should be relatively simple. Here we have the full roundness of the body in all her glory. Let's put Gracie's face on. Now she's got a head. Let's go ahead and add the lower jaw, tusks, snout, whatever. And that one will be this one on the far left if you're looking at the top of the sprue. So that's the snout, and then also we'll do this teapot next. There's the snout. Now we're going to do the crown for our princess. The teapot will go on the top of her head, the handle will be pointing towards the front of the pig, and the spout will be pointed towards the back. I was just suggesting that because that's how it is in the render. It looks like you can just put it any which way you want, so I'm actually going to put the spout towards the front so she can be a unicorn. Gorgeous. Now let's move to Gracie's right side, and we'll fill this in. I realize I'm an idiot and that there's no clearly defined right or left on this, so we're looking at it how I've been holding it so far. And the snout was over here by the Made in China side, and the teapot was over here by the that's not Gracie, GS0095, whatever that is. Anyways, now for what goes on her right side. First we're going to do these pans, and then we're going to grab this basket. We're going to go ahead and put the bottles inside that basket. Also grab the ladder. It looks like it's part of a rope ladder. And then, actually that'll be it for the right side. And for reference, the pans will go right here. The basket with the bottles in it right here on the back hunch, and the rope ladder right there. Here are the pans. The notches on the pans will line up with these little connecting rope things. So that's how you know the orientation. Here's our basket. Bottles will go on top there. There we are. Just make sure that's nice and flush. And now we'll slap it onto her back haunch. So that's attached. Let's do the rope ladder in the middle. Here's off the sprue. Just the sort of tassels. The rest of the rope should be on the bottom here. This is the right side up. Took a little bit of fiddling to snap that into place, but there we go. Now let's give her a tail. It would be a tail and another thing, but that's covered up by this pan here, so let's use that. The pan will be pointing down, so the heavier part will be more towards the ground. And that's attached, and it's probably the most complex part of this build. There's a bit of rope here at the top that should connect to this sort of stump on the bottle basket, and there's a rope going off the bottle basket, and there's a little groove you can kind of see there where it's supposed to connect to the pan. So you might need to nudge things this way or twist them to get that in right. Let's finish her up with the front. Well, not finish her, because we've got to do the undercarriage. On this side, you just got here, which is supposed to be like a large pack, and then here, which is supposed to be a smaller pack. We'll do the large one first. Large pack and smaller pack. Here it is attached. As far as what's right side up, the right side will actually be the thinner part of the satchel. The thicker part will be on the bottom, and this little side pouch will be towards the front of Gracie. Now let's do the small pouch. And here's the smaller one, again like the on top. The random stuff on the side is more towards the front of Gracie. Only two pieces left, and we're going to give her a fine set of wheels. So turn her to the... It looks like the two wheels are very slightly different, so I don't think they're supposed to go in any side. Can't quite tell which one is which, though, because the instructions and the render are different, it looks like. So I'm just going to do some dry fitting. We'll start with this one over here with the extra peg thing attached to it. I'll figure which one that is first. Okay, got it figured out. This is slightly difficult to see. I apologize for my massive thumbs. You can see the grooves there. One is longer than the other one. You can see on Gracie that this connection point here where the grooves connect to one is shorter than the other. I'm fairly certain that this one, the shorter one, the one we clipped off earlier, is going to go on this side, and the other one is going to go on the other side behind the rope ladder. There's one and two. Good pig. We're done with Gracie. Not too terrible a build. The hardest parts was figuring out the ropes on the tail and which wheel was which. That's it. Let's move on to Burt. Okay, it has been well over 2 months later, and I found my copy of Burt Jebsen. Here is the sprue of our lovely man. Here. Nothing too terribly small or fiddly, but I think we are going to go in this order. We're going to go and grab the torso, slap both legs onto it, build the head separate, which is going to be the lower jaw here, the upper head, and then the mullet right there. Then slap that onto the body. Then we're going to glue the parts of the gun to the arms. So you see this long part here that these two pieces are going to surround, and then this will go on the end, and then we'll glue the arms onto the torso. And we should be good. All right, let's get started by grabbing that torso right there. There it is. Now we'll pop out both of the legs and glue them together first before we add them to the torso. Oh, here they are combined, and this is an old kit. It's a bit jankier than probably what you're used to. What you really want to do is make sure that this top part is flush, because the torso doesn't actually have anything that goes in this hole here. So you just want to make sure that the seam looks good and that the top is relatively flat, because now we'll just jam the torso on top there and just ignore the fact that there's a big hole and that there's nothing that's supposed to go in the big hole. Torso. Okay, I think hopefully this is the hardest part of this build. Because there's no like solid tooth for it to connect, you're just kind of guessing as to the angle the chest is supposed to be facing. Looking at the render, this looks like it's a pretty good angle. I'm very happy with the seam. Really just check your seam, make sure there's no big gaps, and that he's facing roughly in this direction. You should be perfectly fine. I'm happy with this, so we're going to move on and build the head. Reminder on order, this here is going to be the lower jaw, and then the upper jaw on top of the head is this one. This one is pretty small and has nothing good for you to grip, so be careful. Don't drop it and lose it. That'll be bad. And we'll put the mullet on top of that and slap the whole thing on the torso. Lower jaw and ears. Upper jaw and head. This man is all mouth. Now, before this cures too much, we're going to jam the mullet in there. There it is, right side up. You see the notches where it'll have to thread through the ears. Just give it a solid press. It shouldn't bend the ears or anything. It just needs a little bit of force to push it further and get it to connect to the head the way it's supposed to. Let's turn him around real quick. Give you a look-see at that beautiful face. Rawr. All right, let's glue the neck on where necks go. There we go. The mullet is cascading down the back of his back. I believe that is also a connection point on his back, so I'm sure you can glue that down as well as his neck. But let's build the arms and the gun. Here's our arms. We'll put on the gun bits next. They're going to go on this, shaft part. Anyways, it's going to be these two bits. They're kind of mirrored. There's only one way they're going to go together. However, the connection point that goes to the arm right here is a bit offset. You want the majority of the bit, like this section and this section, to be down as opposed to up. Let me show you. Okay, here they are combined together on the gun, and as you can see, it's just generally slightly thicker on the bottom than on the top. Obviously, you also connect them side by side, so the seam is going up and down. I don't think there's going to be anything wrong if you install this upside down, so it's just slightly thicker on the top, but I'm going off of what the instructions have and what I remember assembling the first time I put this guy together. But let's go ahead and put on the rest of the gun. For the rest of the gun, I just mean the ends of the barrels. As you can see here, it's pretty much mirrored, so you can there's no like up, down, left, right on this thing. Just put it on. The only thing I would say is to take care to make sure that the barrels still line up with the ones on the rest of the gun. But also, this is just supposed to be a ridiculous pepper box, so it might be funny if they don't even line up with the rest of the barrels on the gun. It's totally up to you. Now let's jam his arms onto his body and call him good. There's more toothless connection points on the shoulder, so you're going to have to hold the gun up so it doesn't droop while it cures. And that's all for Burt. He's done. And hardest part was the waist, connecting it to the legs, where it's just wiggling, you're not sure. And it's a weird angle for someone to sit, or a gremlin to sit, I guess, so you're not inclined to put it the way I put it, but you just check with the render, double check that. The mullet wasn't exactly easy because I was terrified that I was going to, bend or snap off one of the ears, but that ended up being relatively easy. So, not that hard of a build, I don't think. Just got to have some confidence and patience for things to get cured before you move on. Otherwise, you're just going to knock it off. Let's look at both of them together. So, I said it took me 2 months to get to find Burt. Well, I had to paint Gracie for a tournament, so that's why she's got a single layer of paint, and it's not very good. I apologize, but there they are together, man and mount. Hardest part, the only thing that really was weird on Gracie was the pan on her butt and figuring out which way the wheels went, but I've since figured that out, and I believe Weird has corrected their instructions, so that should be easier for you. And then hardest part for Burt was the waist. Overall, not too difficult of a box, just the woes of early 2nd edition plastic or 1.5 plastic. Not sure which one these came out in, but enjoy your pig, enjoy your trouble. I have been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. See you next time.